Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of NPR with your host, as always, me, Antonio Griffin. Today, we will be discussing the impact of the performing arts has on kids in the public school systems, whether it is good or bad, with our guest speaker, Aiden Gordon. This topic was chosen due to the trend of decreasing the amount of performing arts teachers. For example, per a Washington Times article by Jill Hembeck, schools in the city of Chicago has laid off 105 teachers in the music program. We will start off with Aiden Gordon, researcher from Harvard Medical School. Hello, Aiden. Thank you for your time with us today. Glad to have you on the show.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Now, Aiden, it says here that you played a part in a case study done with children and instrument playing. Can you explain what happened in that study?
Yes, a couple years ago, we at Harvard Medical teamed up with the National Institution of Health and tested children about the same age. We had two groups of children. One was a baseline that we did nothing to, but do an MRI scan before and after the study. The other group was our independent variable, and we made them do fine finger motor tasks and melodic rhythm tests for 15 months.
And what exactly was this supposed to test, Aiden?
Well, it was supposed to test the brain's neuroplasticity. We like to define it simply as the brain's ability to form new neural connections that help with memory and can compensate for neural injury and adjust for it.
And how does that connect to your study?
After 15 months of putting the second group of children through the trainings, we did another MRI scan. In that scan, across the board, we found deformations of the brain in the corpus callosum, cerebral cortex, and the left-right perceptual gyrus.
What do you mean by deformations?
The brain had experienced neural growth, so these deformations were effects from ability, neuroplasticity, I'd mentioned earlier.
And this is effective how?
The children's ability to recall information and perform certain tasks improved significantly than those groups of the children that did not go through any of the training.
This carries over to any instrument playing, correct?
Yes, the training we put them through is very similar to pushing buttons or strings on an instrument, tapping certain rhythms, and reading music on a page. If anyone listening today is interested in all the details, our findings are published in the Journal of Neuroscience, Society of Neuroscience. The article is called Musical Training Shaped Structural Brain Development. It was made in 2009, but the findings are still relevant today in 2017.
Thank you, Aiden, for letting us know. I'm sure there are people that will search for that.
No problem, Antonio. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Ethan. And that was Aiden Gordon of Harvard Medical. I myself will look up that story later. For those wondering, the article is Musical Training Shapes Structural Brain Development. If you can't remember any of this information, like always, it'll be on our website, www.npr.org. It's funny that the research that Aiden was discussing perfectly ties in with the No Child Left Behind Act and standardized testing. In the year 2001, the Bush administration passed the NCLB Act in order to close student achievement gaps. According to the Office of Superintendent of Public Instruction, the law requires state academic standards and testing systems. In the state of Virginia, this takes place of SOLs, or standards of learning. If schools do not meet these requirements made by the states, they face the possibility of losing funding from the state for their education. This has caused many schools to turn to the main core subjects of reading, writing, science, math, and history. But as we start putting the pieces together that Aiden has explained to us, the arts has benefits for standardized testing. In an article made by the National Assembly of States Arts Association, or the NASAA, the longer a student has taken an art form, the more likely he or she will get a higher SAT score. The average SAT score for someone who hasn't taken an art form is a 508 in verbal and a 520 in math. For a student on average who's taken 4 years of an art form, their verbal is 543 and their math 541. We can see the difference between the two. Students that are more involved in the arts do better on standardized testing because of the new neural connections that were formed. Oh, my bad, I'm so sorry. We're almost out of time. One last quick topic is the fact that the arts help students relax and express themselves freely, It allows them not to follow rules and creativity. Schools are supposed to help students be ready for society, right? And without a creative voice, a society may become all but dead inside. A social group without any creativity, having people in society who can express themselves, is without a doubt the most important thing. That is a quote from the American Musical Theater Academy. That is all we have today for this segment of NPR. In summary, by schools supporting the art programs, they are successfully creating students that are ready to push society forward, do better on standardized testing, bringing money back into the school, and allow students to express themselves in an educational setting. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you have an amazing day today. Make sure you tune in tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. and listen to our story on Bigfoot. Follow us on Twitter. This is your host, Antonio Griffin. Thank you, and goodbye.